How's it going? This is Riker Anderson with the Wild West ADV Show, and today we are having the introductory podcast for the first time ever. So we're here with the founders and the owner, Josh Anderson, who's my dad, and Roger Anderson, my grandpa. So today we're just going to start out by asking the big question, why and when did this all start? So how did this start?
Well, that's awesome, Reich. We're super excited. We're actually sitting in the Wild West ADV Riders Lounge upstairs at the Wild West ADV facility, and this is kind of a dream come true for us. We set out here about 5 years ago. One day, Raj called me. My dad called me, and he said, "Hey, I think we ought to start riding adventure bikes." And I said, "Let's start riding adventure bikes and go for some adventure bike rides." And so we jumped in and we went and, Roger, we went and bought a Moto Guzzi.
Yep.
And I went and bought a KTM 1290 Super R, and we started riding. And what we realized was a lot of our friends from around the world, we're lucky enough to do business around the world, and a lot of our friends around the world had never participated in real adventures. They just haven't had the opportunity to go around the world and see the amazing beauties of the Western United States, and they definitely haven't been able to see it on a motorcycle. And boy, adventure bikes were absolutely built for Idaho. Man, for our viewers, if you've never been to Idaho, like, adventure bikes were made for this place. And so it started with us wanting to spend more time together. We've spent our whole life riding motorcycles together, and we jumped into this space of adventure motorcycle riding and went, man, this is something that we want to share with the world. And maybe I'll just ask you, Dad, like, you can take the mic. What is it about adventure bike riding and doing it together as a family that's so appealing to you?
Well, the first thing is being together and going on trips that we're all together. And anybody can go ride adventure bikes for the most part. It just depends on the route that you go on and whether you make it harder or easier. And everybody can go. We had a ride last year where Josh and I and Riker went, and Josh took his wife, and one of his other sons, Talon, took his wife, and we went on a ride that anybody could go on, and it was great to be together. We went up through Island Park, the Centennial Valley, and stopped and had lunch, and it was a beautiful day, and it was a great day to be together and ride motorcycles.
Well, and so, right, that's really it. We started this so that we could play together, but what it's turned into is far more than that. It's turned into something really quite special with what we want to do to share it with the world.
Yeah, I love that. I agree. I've really loved every minute of being able to ride with everybody, with you guys, and with the people that have came out to ride with us. So it's been great. And you said you guys got into it because your grandpa called you up one day and asked you if you wanted to go for a ride.
Not my grandpa.
My grandpa.
Come on.
Okay. Yeah. He's young. He's not that old. He's young still. But you guys, you've ridden motorcycles your whole lives, right?
Yes.
How is it different riding an adventure bike versus riding a traditional dirt bike? Because a lot of people are familiar with dirt biking. A lot of people are familiar with riding road bikes, things like Harleys and stuff on the roads. How is an adventure bike different, and what do you love about it?
Well, deep down, Dad, we're just dirt bikers at heart. That's what we are, right? We grew up from the time we were, from the time that I was 6 years old. You took us dirt biking and riding motorcycles.
Since we had a Honda 70.
Yes, since we had Honda 70s, and to us, that's the thing we love, right? And we've spent on average 50 days a year riding in the mountains of Idaho and Montana and Wyoming and in Utah, Moab, riding dirt bikes. That's what we've done. We've raced Idaho City and finished in the top 3 in Idaho City in the A class lots of times, And so if you know what that is, you're a real dirt biker, by the way. For our guests, if you don't know what that is, you better go look it up, become a real man, I guess. But for us, right, that's what we grew up doing and we love. But to answer the question, adventure biking takes all of those skills that a dirt biker has and makes it so that you can go do something that's much, much less effort to ride, much more about the experience and the journey, and really become something that's just fun. And for us, I'm not very old, but as my old man here, Roger, gets a little older, right, it's a little easier. It's a little easier on the body. It's a little easier on where you go and what you do in the world. And so for us, it's just a way to get out and see the world. And one thing that's really cool is what I've learned on an adventure bike is that there are endless places to go play in the world, endless places to go see, old ghost towns, high mountain lakes, beautiful high mountain passes, whether it be on pavement or whether it be all dirt, to go see where where pioneers came across the Western United States, or to go see where gold miners could extract gold from the tops of mountains at 12,000 feet in our country, to see things that are just unique. So that's one of the reasons that I've fallen in love with the adventure bike scene is the adventure of it and where I get to go in the world. And I'll talk later, but more importantly, where I get to take my wife on the back oftentimes. So what about you, Dad?
So I love adventure biking because I came from both worlds, a dirt bike world where I started riding when I was 9 years old. And then I've had Harleys most of my life, the big bikes, and I love going on long trips. Last year, I went on a long trip through the Canadian Rockies, one of the most beautiful places on earth. And we were on the big road bike Harleys, but we could have been just as easy on adventure bikes and hit some dirt roads. And so adventure biking takes the adventure. You can go anywhere you want, as long as there's a paved road or a dirt road or a two track, and you can go anywhere you want. 2 years ago, we went, Josh and I and a bunch of other guys, we made a trip around the Frank Church Wilderness. Now, if you know anything about the Frank Church Wilderness, you know it's the biggest wilderness area in the lower 48. And we made a whole loop around the Frank Church Wilderness area, and it was gorgeous. Yeah, we did the Magruder corridor. We did, 3 legs of the Idaho BDR, and it was one of the best rides I've ever been on. And probably 80% of it was dirt on this ride. But those are the things that you get to do when you ride adventure bikes.
I love it. I completely agree. And, the next question I kind of have for you guys, well, we're sitting here in the most beautiful headquarters I think you could possibly create. And it's just set up in such a way that people can enjoy it and not worry about any aspect of it. So could you guys talk a little bit about how Wild West Adventures is actually set up, what people can expect when they come here to come out on a ride, and kind of what that whole experience is going to look like for them?
Well, at the end of the day, right, we're just business guys, right? We do business all around the world in lots of different spaces, and we've been blessed enough to be highly successful in massive, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollar businesses. And when we started this, we said we want to do something that the adventure bike world has never seen before. No doubt about it, there is no adventure bike company that has facilities and equipment and gear like we have, because we've treated it just like we treat our $500 million a year companies. We treat it to that level. We own and operate large hunting lodges, some of the biggest in the world. And so we treat it the same. So when you come to Wild West, we have. I didn't get that. Could you try again? Oh, sorry, Siri. We have 32 motorcycles. We have a whole stable of Husqvarna Norden 901s, Pan America 1250s, Aprilia Touareg 660s. And we got a whole stable, 32 rental motorcycles, which you'll be hard pressed to find anybody in the world that has that many bikes. But more importantly, one of my best friends in the world started a little company that most adventure bike riders know called Climb, right here in our backyard, just 5 miles down the road. And he started it with the mind of snowmobiles and adventure bikes. And so all of our riders get to have, we have a full stock. I think we have over 70 pairs of Climb pants and jackets and gloves and helmets. They're top of the line stuff. We partner with people like Cardo so that all 20 people in the group get to communicate with each other in a headset and their helmet, listen to their music, answer their telephone, work. Everything's top notch, right? It's all about the experience. And so when you come to our facility, and you'll notice it's a multi-million-dollar facility. It's maybe some of the nicest offices within a 100-mile radius of us. And within 100 miles is Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and Sun Valley, Idaho. This facility puts all of what you see in those places to shame because it's built with the customer experience in mind. It's the most important thing to us. So the day and the minute you walk into our building, you're blown away with the quality of the woodwork, the materials, the motorcycles, the gear, the experience. Because when you come out west to ride with us, you're coming on a once in a lifetime experience. That's just all there is to it. So Go ahead.
Perfect. I completely agree. I mean, in the time that I've been here and been working here, I have failed to meet some customer, somebody that's came in here that hasn't been wildly impressed with the way that everything's set up. You guys have truly done an amazing job with it. And so it makes a really awesome experience for anybody coming out. So kind of the next question would be, what would you guys suggest to somebody who's thinking about coming out right now?
Well, first off, you'd want to know where you're going to ride. And we have lots of different loops that you can take: a short 1 day ride, a short 2 day ride. We have a 6 day ride. We have lots of rides. We have a ride we can go through the two parks that are close to us. We live right in the corner of southeast Idaho, which borders on Yellowstone National Park and Grand Teton National Park, some of the most beautiful country in the world. And you have to decide where you kind of want to go, and then maybe what kind of bike you want to ride. And we have three different models. We have the Harley Pan Am, we have the Norden 901, and we have the Aprilia Touareg. And so you can go from the biggest bike you want, or down to a smaller bike, the Touareg. And you get to make a choice of what you want to ride and where you want to ride. So those are the things you kind of want to think about, and then how long you want to ride for.
And for us, right, it's all about experience. So we just try and match the customer up with the experience. And if you want to come play with us in the winter, man, we know how to play in the winter with snow bikes as well. So once the snow flies, we put the adventure bikes away and we get out the snow bikes and we go climb to the top of the world. So it really is about user experience, rider experience, and what kind of trip they want to have. And Riker and Roger, we built this place so that they could find out your needs and then build a custom tailored opportunity for you and your friends to come participate.
Absolutely. It really is set up in the way that anybody can come in with nothing. They can fly in from whatever airport in the world and come have an unforgettable experience. And like you guys said, it's absolutely epic. And it can be any time of the year, right? We have the snow bikes in the wintertime. We have the fleet of adventure bikes in the summertime. So any time of the year, somebody can really come and see the greatness of Idaho in all of its glory, right? There's something different about seeing it just driving through the parks versus being on an adventure bike, being on the dirt roads, being out where you can see everything. So we'll include a lot of these clips of the building of some of the rides and everything so that everyone can kind of really see and grasp what we're talking about here. Because until you come and see it, you're not even going to understand it, right? The camera never does it justice.
Never does.
But it's really pretty incredible.
Yeah, and what we also really care about is in this idea of designing what you want, right? We've had people fly in from Switzerland and Austria and Germany who have come as a group of buddies who've said, we want to come see the wilds of the West United States. We've had couples come in, group. We have a group that comes every year. They bring 13 riders and their spouses and girlfriends, and they're on the back and they go for 4 days every year, and it's their favorite trip of the year. Like for the wives to the husbands, and we build them a custom trip every year, and they come out and they just have absolute time of their life. And what we found that's kind of unique, I know in the case of my wife, they absolutely love going to places that they typically don't get to see. That's the cool part about an adventure bike, is you can do it as a couple and you can go see somewhere in the world that you just wouldn't see. You can go to old ghost towns. You can go to waterfalls that are only accessible by adventure bike or side by side. You can go to hot springs that maybe 20 people a month see. You can go to lakes and cast a fishing line in that maybe once a year somebody else stands on the bank of that creek or that lake and throws a line in the water. And because of that, it's a really special thing. And it can be for individuals, it can be for dual riders, and we can just make something that's really special or big groups.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough in the adventure bike community, is the ability to do it with your spouse, right? I watch plenty of videos on adventure biking, and I follow people on social media and everything, and that's something that really doesn't get brought to light enough. Is it's something you can take your spouse to do, and that they're really going to enjoy. Like you said, it's this group's favorite trip of the year, to go on an adventure bike ride for a couple days. My wife, she loves it. I think if it wasn't for the adventure bikes, I don't know if she'd be with me today. That was the second date. That was second date. I took her on an adventure bike ride, and she had never done anything like it, right? A lot of girls have never done anything like that. And so it was just an amazing experience for her. She loved it. And I mean, now we're getting married next weekend. So I think it worked, right? So adventure bikes really, have blessed me in that way. But yeah, it's more people should know that you can take your spouse out and have a great time and see country that otherwise nobody else is, like you said, it's areas that maybe a handful of people get to see every month, every year, right? So it's pretty cool.
One of the things too that I love about the community, right? We've been all over the world riding these bikes, and one of the funnest things to me is whenever I'm on an adventure bike, whenever I'm in that awesome climb gear, right? Whenever I'm like that and I go to a gas station or I get dinner or I go to a hotel or a bed and breakfast or an Airbnb, it's inevitable. I'm going to run into another member of the ADV community. Always. I'm going to meet someone else who either is out on an adventure bike ride the same time I am and they want to talk, or they have one at home and they want to find out where we're going. They want to share in the experience. It really is one of the most inclusive groups in the world. And part of the reason why we wanted to start Wild West ADV was that we wanted to provide an additional place for people an additional free resources where people could find out about where to ride in our part of the country, in our part of the world, and they could be a part of it. So I love the community that adventure bike riding has.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's pretty incredible. It's a very tight community, right? And they welcome anybody into it. So it's pretty sweet. Is there anything else that you guys want to share today while we have you on?
Well, I'll let Rod share some closing thoughts, and I might share some.
Perfect.
Well, I've rode since, like I said, I was 9 years old. I've rode road bikes, dirt bikes, and in the last few years, I've been on adventure bikes. And there's nothing like going out in the day and knowing you can go wherever you want, whether it's dirt, road, two-track. Some of the bikes are a little tough on single tracks, but it's just amazing, and you can do it from here where we live, 1st of May to the end of October, and it's a great experience. And we live in some of the greatest, most beautiful country in the whole world.
Well, in closing today, right, I just want you to know that we started this as a family business, as a way to spend quality time together. And what I've found is you can't spend any better time with your family or your friends or your loved ones than seeing beautiful country aboard a beautiful motorcycle and being with people at dinner and at breakfast that you absolutely love. And what's been really fun for me, we've been doing this now for 4.5 years. It's really fun is every single person that's ever come and rode with us, whether it's in the summer on an adventure bike or in the winter on a snow bike, they become family. They become part of our extended family, and they call us for years. It's been years now. They still call us. We get an opportunity to go play with them. A group came and rode with us a few years ago from Switzerland. They've begged me to come ride with them. And so I'm headed next week to Switzerland to ride with them because they've become family. And that's what this business is all about. It's what this community is all about. You make lifelong friendships and you build bonds within your own family that just never end. And so for me, that's the beautiful thing about Wild West Adventures.
Absolutely. It's very true. Everyone does become family when they come ride here, and it's set up in a way that anybody can come out and have a fantastic time. So this is Riker with the Wild West Adventures podcast. We're going to be recording more episodes talking about some of our specific adventures. Thank you for tuning in to the first podcast ever, and we hope to see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.